Before the Hall of Fame and the World Series appearances, before he was known as the Say Hey Kid, he was just a kid growing up in Alabama with a dream of making it big in baseball, getting a start with the Negro Leagues. Today's episode of Journey Through Jerseys goes into his story to see how the Birmingham Black Barons prepared him to be a New York Giant. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story of Willie Mays. Willie Mays was born in Westfield, Alabama on May 6, 1931. He was the son of two athletes, with his father, Cat Mays, being a baseball player, and his mother, Annie Satterwhite, being a basketball player. His father first exposed him to baseball at the age of 5, while playing catch with him. And he even took a young Willie Mays to see the Birmingham Black Barons play, the team that Willie would eventually play for. And at the age of 10, a young Willie Mays sat on the bench while his father's baseball team, the Fairfield Wire Mill team, played their games. Fairfield Wire Mill was also the same business that Cat Mays swept floors for, and it was at these games that Willie would get his first shot at playing baseball.
He was a really good guy for me.
So he taught you the game, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, we start off at catching. Every position I had to learn how to play. I'm about 6 or 7 years old. He let me play when I was about maybe 11 or 12 with him. I played with the company team that my father was on. I was a bat boy, but they let me play the last 2 innings.
Fairfield was said to have had slightly better race relations than Birmingham did, and was even home to one of the richest black men in the South, A.G. Gatson. And it was here that Willie began to develop his sports skills, playing basketball and football in high school. According to his childhood friend, Otis Tate, in high school, Willie was actually better at basketball and football than in baseball. Willie would go on to play as a shortstop for a couple of teams in Fairfield, one of which was the Fairfield Gray Sox. In 1946, he would join the Negro Leagues by playing with the Chattanooga Choos, a minor league team. That next year, Jackie Robinson would break the color barrier. And according to Willie, seeing Jackie break the color barrier ultimately inspired him to fully go after his baseball dreams. And during this time, Willie was still in high school and making a lot of money playing professional baseball. So imagine LeBron James going to play basketball for like the G League version of the Cavaliers, and then the next day going to study for a chemistry test. That's basically what Willie Mays' life was like at that point. He would later go on to play for the Birmingham Black Barons, a team that he got connected to through a man named Piper Davis. Davis was a teammate of Cat Mays and had known Willie for a long time.
When I went to Chattanooga, we didn't, it rained for about 3 or 4 days. I was getting hungry. I didn't want to stay there, so I called my dad. I said, I got to come home, man. What he did, and I didn't know this, he called the manager with the Birmingham Black Barons, and Piper Davis called Piper and said, I'd like to bring my kid over so you can see him play. Piper called me like nothing. They ain't said nothing about my dad. He said, come on in and let me see what you can do. We're going to play what they call a special game for you, because I was playing shortstop that day. And when I played short, there was a guy named Ed Steele. He hits a ball with the overspin, If you don't get in front of him, he's gonna kill you, So when I went to try and catch it, it ran up my sleeve. He called time. I saw Piper coming out of the stand. He called time, and he says, that's not your position, switch. He told the center fielder to come in, and I go to center field. Next 2 balls was hit, pretty good out there. I catch it with no problem. And then he went like that, and he left. That means that's your position. You're gonna play that.
And you're gonna be on my team.
You're gonna be on my team. He said, meet me Sunday afternoon at Rickwood Field.
Unfortunately though, not everybody was happy with Willie Mays playing for the Black Barons. His principal didn't like the idea of him playing professional baseball and playing high school football, and even threatened to suspend him for it. But a deal was made, saying that Willie could only play home games for the Black Barons while still playing high school football. In his first game with the Black Barons, he played left field and faced off against right-hander Chet Brewer. During this game, Chet Brewer was playing with the Cleveland Buckeyes. He had a storied history being a 2-time Negro League World Series winner with the Kansas City Monarchs. And during this game, Mays wrapped 2 singles around Brewer. The same year that Willie joined the Black Barons, 1948, they won the league championship, which led to this iconic photo. During his time with the Black Barons, he had a batting average of .223 and would go on to play a pivotal role in the 1948 Negro League World Series. And this one will prove to be especially important, because it was the last Negro League World Series that would ever be played. It was in Game 3 of that series that Willie Mays would shine, helping the Black Barons win their first and only game of that World Series. In particular, a ground ball hit in the 9th inning helped drive the runner on second base to home plate and ultimately helped the Black Barons win the game. Even though the Grays ultimately won the series, his experience with the Black Barons had an influence on his game that he carried all the way to the MLB. Another thing that Mays learned from his time on the Black Barons is how to deal with the racial attitudes of the day. Something that Bill Greason, the second youngest member on the team after Willie, also attests to learning. Bill Greason is now a Reverend and is one of the few surviving former Negro League players.
Once you make up your mind and see what's going on, know you can't change it, so you adapt to it and make the best of it. We didn't worry too much about segregation because when we get to the ballpark, we put their uniform on, go out, play, come back, change, go. And that's the way it was with us.
On August 27th, 1949, the Chicago Defender, one of the most prominent black newspapers at that time, endorsed Willie Mays as, quote, one of the most prominent young players to come out of the Negro American League in a long time. And it was during that 1949 season that his batting average went up from .274 to .311. And then that next year, he raised it to .394. But his most notable improvement was his arm. During a 1950 game against the Cleveland Buckeyes, he chalked a 295-foot fly, throwing the ball the entire way to home plate and stopped a potential 3-run rally. His talent was so great that even the white reporters at Rickwood Field started writing articles about him. And with this newfound attention, it was only a matter of time before the major leagues would start knocking at his door, especially since the Negro Leagues themselves were coming to a close. Willie got attention from scouts from teams like the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Boston Braves, and the Brooklyn Dodgers. But the team that would eventually sign him would be the New York Giants. The story of how the Giants ended up signing him was an interesting one, because Eddie Montague, the scout who signed Willie, was introduced to him by Bill Maughan, a scout who was initially interested in signing Willie to the Boston Braves. And while the Braves decided not to go forward with it, Maughan was still looking for ways to help Willie. On June 17, 1950, Maughan ran into Montague at a high school baseball game, where Montague told Maughan that he was going to Birmingham to evaluate another player, Alonzo Perry, with the intention of signing him. But Maughan was able to convince Montague to reconsider, suggesting that he take a look at Willie instead. Then, when Montague went to see Willie play, he was impressed, saying that Willie Mays was, quote, the greatest young player I had seen in my lifetime, praising his batting and his arm. Montague would then deal directly with Willie because, while he was playing for the Black Barons, he had only signed a contract for that 1948 season. Once his business was settled, the New York Giants would sign him for $4,000. And just like that, Willie Mays would join Jackie Robinson as being a former Negro League player to make it in the major leagues, doing this right after he graduated from high school. And he wouldn't be alone either. In signing to the Giants, he would be joining another former Negro League player, Monty Irvin, who had signed with the Giants a year before and ended up being Willie Mays' roommate when the team stayed at hotels. After Willie signed his contract, he would go on to play for minor league teams like the Trenton Giants and the Minneapolis Millers, at each step improving his game and pushing him one step closer to his big debut. That debut happened on May 25th, 1951, when the New York Giants would be going up against the Philadelphia Phillies. During this game, Willie attracted a lot of attention from fans and even garnered respect from opposing players during the pregame. The game will be held at Polo Grounds, a stadium that had a rich baseball history, particularly with the Negro Leagues. Mays' teammates on the Black Barons told him about their battles with Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson at Polo Grounds. And Mays had even played there himself as a Black Baron. Unfortunately, despite all his hype, his major league debut got off to a slow start. He would go hitless until May 28th, when he hit a home run off Warren Spahn. After this, he would continue to struggle until he had an inspiring talk with his team manager, Leo DeRocher, who assured Willie that he belonged in the majors. And it was after this talk that Willie Mays would go on to have a batting average of .288 and achieve 19 home runs over his next 114 games. He was even named Rookie of the Year for that season. He even made great strides defensively. One example of this happened on July 24th, 1951, where he made a barehanded catch of a 457-foot hit at Ford's Field. His talents helped the Giants overcome a 13-game deficit to the Dodgers, which helped set the stage for Bobby Thompson to hit a home run that was called the Shot Her Around the World. And this home run helped the Giants win a pennant that year. And it was around this time that he picked up a nickname that would stick with him for the rest of his life, the Say Hey Kid. It's not known exactly how this nickname came to be, but it's said that New York Journal American sports writer Barney Cremico heard Willie Mays say the phrase, say what, say who, say hey. He then called Mays the Say Hey Kid in the papers, and it stuck. He even got his own theme song in 1954, which was an important year in Willie's life and career. About 3 years earlier, he was drafted to fight in the Korean War. He reported to Fort Eustis in 1952, continued to play baseball for the Fort Eustis Wheels. And it was there that Willie picked up on some new skills, like the basket catch, which is when a player catches the fly ball with the glove above his waistline rather than above the shoulders. Willie was discharged on March 1st, 1954, after getting injured that previous year playing ball with the Wheels. After he was discharged, he reported right back to the Giants spring training camp. And when he came back with a bang, hitting an over 414-foot home run on opening day. He would also continue upping his batting average throughout the season, going from .250 over his first 20 games to .450 over his next 20 games after he improved his batting stance. That season, he became the first player to hit 30 home runs before the All-Star game, which he was also a part of, and was even awarded league MVP. Willie was heating up, but the moment where he would become etched in history happened at that year's World Series. The Giants were on a roll that season, having already won the league pennant, and they would carry this dominance in that year's World Series, sweeping the Cleveland Indians in 4 games. And for Willie, the most significant game of this series happened on Game 1, because it was in that game that Willie Mays made the catch. Let me set the story for you. It was in the 8th inning of the game. The score was tied 2-2. Vic Wertz was up to bat with 2 players on base. Wertz hit a fly ball all the way to center field, and it looked like it was going to be a home run, but Willie Mays wasn't having it. As soon as the ball started flying, Willie Mays went into action and made an over-the-shoulder catch, stopping the home run and giving the Indians 1 out. But he didn't stop there. He immediately threw the ball back to second base and stopped the Indians from scoring. The Giants would win this game 5-2 with that one singular play from Mays being described as one of the best baseball plays in history. And it was at this moment that Willie Mays had officially arrived. The culmination of time spent learning the game from his dad, honing his skills in the Negro Leagues, building up his talent in the minor leagues, and becoming a legend in the major leagues. A giant in his own right. And by the time this giant retired, he had racked up a total of 660 home runs, a batting average of .301, 1,909 RBIs, and 3,293 hits. He was also a 24-time All-Star, ironic because the number on his jersey is 24. He was also a 4-time home run and base stealing leader during his time with the Giants, both in New York and when they moved to San Francisco. In 1979, he joined other former Negro League players like Satchel Paige and Jackie Robinson and was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Willie Mays passed away on June 18, 2024. A significant date because it was just 2 days before the MLB held their Field of Dreams game. And that year's Field of Dreams was special because it was at Rickwood Field and honored the legacy of the Negro Leagues, with the San Francisco Giants suiting up as the San Francisco Sea Lions and the St. Louis Cardinals suiting up as the St. Louis Stars, playing an exhibition match in front of thousands of fans, including former Negro League players. This game is kind of poetic in so many ways because the team that Willie Mays had gotten so many of his accolades with was playing in a stadium where he honed his skills as a Black Baron. Willie Mays grew up in a small town in Alabama, enduring racism and learning the game from his dad, taking those lessons with him to the Negro Leagues and going on to become a legend in the game that he cherished so much. A Hall of Famer, a Say Hey Kid, and a giant amongst men. Well, that does it for this episode of Journey Through Jerseys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, be sure to check out my other video on Bucky Lou. He was the first Black man to play professional basketball, so I know you guys are gonna like that one. So again, thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you next time.